few better players to bring back into the side on the game this week. It's pretty tough to have back up.
Yeah, it was nice to see him out on the track. We tried to calm him down during our match play. The enthusiasm's probably at its highest for him. He's. I don't think he enjoys watching football, but he loves playing the game. So we look forward to him coming back in.
What's his condition like? Throw him in the guts for a couple of games.
Yeah, well, he must have come and had a chat to you, did he? He's ready as far as he's concerned. Well, he's in great condition. He's worked right throughout the break. So, unlike an injury, he's able to get as much physical work in as he needs. So he'll play a number of different roles for us. He'll be very important for us, but the expectation too is it may take a little while for the touch to come back. Although if there's a player that you probably trust can come back in and has some natural talent, he's one of them.
How do you strike the balance now? Sort of crouch back last week and I think back as well. We're trying to continue to develop the champions.
Yep, that's the balance. We'll put out our best team. We'll put out a team we believe is going to give us the best chance to win the game of footy, and it's going to be a game that. They're not getting any easier for us at this latter part of the year. We're running into some teams in some rare form, and the Bulldogs are as good as any. Last time we met a team in such high form was Hawthorn, and we let ourselves down. So our focus is to really come out and perform well as a team. We'll make selections around that as well.
Why is that so important for you to continue to pick the best team to win when you could use the view of next year or that next year?
There's a balance. There's a balance with that. I mean, we're picking the best team for this week, but there is also a balance amongst that decision of what we feel is going to be important for us going forward. And so some of that is around the cohesion of our group. How many games does Josh Worrell play alongside Nick Murray? We feel like that's going to be an important factor in the future. We also feel that that's going to help us win this game of footy. So we'll make those decisions, and there are different parts to it.
How many other changes are you expecting this week?
Well, not too many. Off a performance where we had our opportunities against Geelong down there at Geelong. We're quite pleased with the way the guys went about it. Disappointed with the way we weren't able to get the result, but we'll stick to trying to keep that group together. I mentioned a couple of guys behind the ball that we'd like to play some more footy together. Mark Keane is part of that as well. The three talls back there. We've got some guys who are playing through the midfield, Saligo and Berry, who are still, learning the game themselves, but playing at a high level. Billy Dowling's been strong for us. Nankervis is another one that's been in. We've played a lot of guys this year. I think we're coming up on 40-odd players that we've played throughout the season. So we've had our challenges. With that, it's shown some opportunity, which has been a positive. And we've unearthed a couple of guys too. We've played some young kids. So although our results haven't gone well, there's some things we've got right this year.
Speaking of your next year team, confident Mark Keane is going to stick around?
Yeah, I am because I feel like he's a very important part of our group. We love the way he goes about his footy and who he is off the field, and he loves our footy club. So I'm super confident that we'll get that one done. And saying that, you just never know until it actually happens.
Have you had a chat to him around representing you to it?
Yeah, I've had him in a headlock a couple of times, and we talk regularly. We talk. That's ongoing. As we've said right throughout, everything we do, we don't wait for reviews here or an autopsy. We work on things right throughout the year, and Mark and I have been in contact right throughout, making sure that he's clear on what it is we're looking for and how important he is for us. And so hopefully that decision is one that he makes soon, and then we can set ourselves for what's next.
How about going in the other direction? How about going in the other direction as well? Justin Reid out there today. How much, when you know that you're not going to have finals this year, do you sort of allow yourself more of the chance to get in touch with players and sort of look at what's going to come in the trade period?
That's the same every year. We look at what's next right throughout the year. Now's probably a time where there's a little more opportunity. With players coming to the end of contracts and or free agency. So it's a slightly busier time of the year, but there's a constant balance with that, week to week, and then the longer term when it comes to our list and how we continue to improve as a footy club. And I think we owe that to our members and supporters that, they expect us to be out there and busy and working to make ourselves better. And that's what we're doing at this point.
What about Curtin? Is he playing in the A's this week, Ken Curtin?
Yeah, he will be. Yeah, DC will be playing, and I know that everyone will be looking at, oh geez, I hope he gets a little more time. We sort of talked through that in the post-game around why that decision was made, and the sub's an interesting one. When the team has momentum, do you make that sub and change that momentum, or to bring on a fresh player? We made a decision on the weekend. We might look back on that and go, well, we could have maybe gone the other way. We didn't get the result, but the momentum was definitely with us. DC's a really, he's a great young kid. He's still learning the craft of the game, but he'll get a crack at it this week. As I said, he'll play this week.
I think he might be the only player in the top 10 who not got a full game yet. What do you make of the criticism that you're struggling to develop a kid that much around within 25, 20% points?
You obviously read a lot more than I do around that area. I work with Dan around how we develop Dan, and we're really positive about the progress he's making. A key defender as well, probably one of the toughest positions to play in the game. When you come out and you're playing on an experienced key forward, there are not too many tougher jobs. So we're mindful of the history of what we've seen in that position for high draft picks. Those guys took a little while to develop. When I say a little while, I'm talking a number of years. They're now the best players in the game when it comes to that position. So we're really confident of what Dan will develop into. He's probably got a couple of other strengths too. He's shown he can play on ball, and so we're continuing to work in a couple of areas at the moment that might expose him, and we'll see something different from him.
How's he been?
He's going really well. I mean, the weekend would have been a tough one for him, and so we make sure there's a follow-up conversation in around that, in the moment, around why we made the decision. But he's a mature kid when it comes to that, the off-field stuff, and where he's at from his career point of view. We're right at the start of his what we believe will be a long footy career, so there's no panic.
It's really ready for Sunday.
It'll be a challenge for us. Yeah, we're not going to look to go too much taller. We did experiment with that. Probably one that we've, looking back on, we know we've got to have a certain amount of run in our forward line. We get exposed a little bit coming back out the other way, and the Bulldogs are probably one of, if not the best team in the competition at that. They can really hurt you if you don't bring pressure in your front half. So to sort of bring in another tall, we'll keep the same 3 talls in this weekend. Probably won't be a week that he comes in.
What have you learned about the
last home game in front of the fans? What are you hoping to run a bit of a show?
We're hoping to put a performance out there that everyone walks out and goes, hey, that's our Adelaide Footy Club. That's the team that we come to watch. If they'd come down to Geelong on the weekend, you'd probably say they walked out of there and they were reasonably proud of what they saw. That's what we're looking to bring. And then off the back of that, the next step for us is learning how to win, learning how to come off with a win at the end of the day. Perform the way we want to, show our DNA, and then win the game of footy.
Talk about form. Really wins last week. How much do you think the injuries you've had this year, top of the players, have actually affected this team?
Yeah, I mean, it's not looking back at that. There are trigger points in a team that you select when you talk about an age and experience. There are trigger points where you hit where you will become a little too young and inexperienced, and it challenges you to win a game of football. We've had our moments this year where we have found it challenging. I think on the weekend show, when you bring that little bit more experience in them, and some of those guys will be better for the run. They weren't necessarily at their best. They know that. We've talked through it, so I'm not being disrespectful at all. It's, Nick Murray is going to be a lot better for the run last week, as will Josh Worrell and Matt Crouch. So, but every team's challenged with that. If you have a look right across the board, the teams that have no injuries are often the teams that are in really strong form. They're able to select a side that have played together for a long period of time, they've built up experience, and there's just this natural connection there. We've been challenged in that space this year, as a lot of teams have. I mean, one of the best teams in the comp this year, Sydney, who have, we've all talked about it, they're going to win it by how far, have had a number of injuries, and it affects a side. It does make it tough for you. So, we'll continue to work through that though.
Last couple of guys.
Do you have to, from a coaching point of view, do you reflect on maybe pulling triggers on certain in-game things? Last year you talked about maybe Dan was maybe too late last week, or talk about Nick Murray and sort of like Jeremy Cameron who gave a bit of far. From a coaching point of view, do you reflect on maybe not making changes in-game?
Talking about just the weekend, no, we're always looking at how we've got to be better, how we can help our players. In saying that, there's so much more to the game than just one individual. You know, I think it was close to 60 inside 50s against us on the weekend, and I mentioned it post-game. Jeremy Cameron, who I know really well, if you have 60 inside 50s against you, Jeremy Cameron's going to have a day. It doesn't matter who's playing on him or how many are playing on him. So we had other areas of our game that we needed to get right at that point. We did get it right eventually, but maybe too late.
Just for Fox 100th?
Yeah.
Is he becoming the player you thought he would?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, both on and off the field. He's developed as a real leader of our group now. He's verbal on field. He's becoming that sort of follow me sort of leader, and then he's now actually been able to set us up and instruct and work with our group, organise them. And off field, he's a very, very good leader. Boys can't help following him. Sometimes to spots we don't want him to, but he's the sort of energy you want around a footy club. So it's nice to have that reward, 100 games. I think for him it'll be one he just sort of moves to the side. That's not what he's about, but he'll look back on it, when he's finished his footy career and be pretty proud of what he's done to this point.
Last home game of the season is Thursday. Have you heard anything about farewell for Taylor Walker? Can we read anything into what that might mean in terms of...
Yeah. I thought you'd come with that one. We haven't got organised, have we? No, I don't. I can't tell you what's going to happen in that space just at this point. Similar to what I spoke about though with Mark Keane, the ongoing conversations where Tex and I are very much aligned around, where to from here and how we work through it. And it's not a decision that's necessarily been locked away yet. But Taylor's a superstar of our footy club. And he's one of the stars of the competition. So I've spoken to him about. Let's make sure that when the time comes, and we're not necessarily saying it's now, but when the time comes, let's make sure it's a celebration, and that we can make sure you go out and look back on a career that you should be proud of. And so I'm not sure that's going to be this weekend. But you might have to wait and see on that one.
You talk about it is different to Mark Keane. He is a legend of the club though, and an opportunity for celebration would be this weekend. So do you have to factor those sorts of things in when you talk about it?
We talk through all of that sort of stuff. Paying respect to our supporters and our fans that have come out and have pretty much lived Taylor Walker, for the last 15, 16, 17 years. He's a character. He's an entertainer. He's done everything in this stadium and in the other one. So, there is some of those things to factor in.
Just confirming you guys want to play on next year?
Yeah, I would love Tex to play on, and he and I are just talking through that now as far as what does that look like, and does he feel like he's able to do that? It comes down to a physical and mental thing from a playing point of view. It's quite challenging to be a professional athlete. It's not just what you see out there on game day.